Wow. Check that out, guys. Well, that's hell of a way to start out your day of fishing. God damn it. That's a fish. Hell yeah. Staying down too. It's big. Oh yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Nice largemouth. Oh, come on, baby. Come here, man. Come here. That's a good fish, guys. Whew. He's actually got a lot of spunk in him too. Oh, come here. Come here, man. Oh, guys, wait till you see this fish. Hell yeah. Woo! That makes worth breaking that rod right there, baby. That fish right there. 5 pounds even, guys. All right, guys, one last look. I'm gonna get her back in. Check that beast of a fish out, guys. That is my first 5 pound of the year. Let's get her back. All right, guys, so what we're doing here is nothing super fancy. If you guys have watched my videos for any time at all, Pro Blue Shiner, Kitech Easy Shiner, on a belly weighted hook, fishing with straight Seaguar and VizX fluorocarbon, and I'm just literally as slowly as I possibly can rolling this bait and trying to entice those super lethargic bass into biting. Now, you need to understand the conditions to understand the reason for everything, and as you guys can probably hear, there is a excessive amount of wind. It is a 14 mile an hour sustained wind combined with a 30 mile an hour plus gust that comes through pretty consistently. It is very cold, and just to kind of explain how cold is cold, about a week ago we got 16 inches of snow, and we basically went right back to ice out conditions. Like, we didn't really get a real spring yet. It's still winter time conditions out here, and that's the reason for my downsizing. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to create a food source for these bass that they have literally no choice but to consume. They don't want to move. They want to stay right where they are. They want to try to get warm, which is almost impossible with the current conditions. But what I'm giving them is I'm giving them a 3.8 inch little tiny bait right in their face, moving it as slow as I possibly can reel it without it bombing out, and just basically covering as much water as I can, trying to drag it right in front of these fish. And like I said, they really have no choice. Their instincts are, I need food, and this is going to be the easiest way for me to get that need satisfied, and that's what we're doing. Now, I know that I'm probably going to get heckled in the comments because, you know, the book says I should be using chatterbaits, I should be using lipless crankbaits, blade baits, I should be using some louder style baits because the wind is blowing, there's current on the water, there's very little visibility. I will tell you that that book is not always right, and you really have to kind of feel what the fish want. And right now, it looks like they're looking for the paddle tail. I may upsize my paddle tail, get a little bit bigger one, but I'm not gonna really bust out all those loud baits just yet because subtle seems to be working. We'll check in here, guys. Finally found a spot kind of out of the wind. And that's kind of some advice I can give for anybody who's fishing from a kayak. You know, think about the direction the wind is coming from. And a lot of the times on a body of water, there's a bay or a shoreline that will provide you with a little bit of cover, a little bit of shelter from that storm. So the wind is still whipping really heavy out where I just was. But because I kind of tucked into this little bay right here, the storm is completely flowing around me. So it's windy everywhere but where I'm at. And sometimes it's a good little place not only to take a break from fighting the wind while you're fishing, but it's also a sneaky little spot where fish will hang out, because a fish eventually gets sick of getting beat up by all that current. They don't want to have to continue to work and fight to stay in position. They don't want to get thrown all over the place. So a lot of the times, if you can find these little quiet bays when there's a storm all the way around you, and you kind of sneak in and you fish subtle baits like a paddle tail or even a silent crankbait, like a smaller size crankbait, sometimes those fish are doing the same exact thing you're doing. They're trying to hide out, they're trying to take a break, and you'll be able to ambush them because they're not expecting anything to come in there with them. They're expecting to just kind of hang out, hide, do their thing, recoup, and then go back out on the hunt. So if you can sneak into their little safe zone, sometimes you can manage to pull out some really big fish in somewhere where you don't have to fight the conditions.
One eternity later.
So I changed strategies, and there's a few reasons for this. Last year, I caught my PB shortly after ice out on a mag draft, 6-inch mag draft in perch. Now, I'm not using a mag draft today, but I've done a little bit of research, and I have a few different options this year of swim baits. Now, I was using a Kitech Easy Shiner Pro Blue Shiner 3-inch. Well, now we're using a Zow Dangerous Loaded line through, but look at that bait. It is basically a Pro Blue Shiner color. It is just significantly bigger than the previous bait. Now, why would I do that? Well, for one, I tend to home run fish this time of year because I don't expect to get a lot of fish. I don't expect a big numbers day. I really honestly just expect that I'm going to catch a couple. So why not swing for the fences and make that couple over 5 pounds, you know? The other thing is that I like to practice with baits. So this time of year, I take a lot of the new stuff that I've learned and I've researched and I've tried to figure out over the off season. You know, I have a lot of new baits that I buy, and I want to try them out and get proficient with them so that when the time arises when that is actually the ideal time for that bait, I've got some muscle memory, I've got some reps, and I'm able to fish those baits efficiently. And it's just a great use of your time on the water, because let's be honest, it's probably stupid to be out here literally after the biggest blizzard of the year, fishing in 40-degree water, hoping that you're going to catch a monster bass. But it isn't necessarily stupid to get out here, test out your gear, get everything dialed in, and be ready so that when that spawn temperature, when that magic temperature hits, those fish start coming in, they start feeding up, their metabolisms jump up high, you're going to be ready with all possible solutions to catching those fish. And that's something I can't recommend enough. Anytime you're having a bad day or a slow day on the water, don't just pack it up and go home. Take the time to learn. Take the time to figure out a new bait, a new style of fishing, a new technique. Because at the end of the day, if you're able to figure things out like that, it doesn't waste your time. It doesn't make it a wasted effort. You just increased your opportunities for fish the next time you go out.